So we will start. Good morning to everyone. I'm really happy to be here. So let's start with NATWORK. NATWORK stands for Net Zero Self-Adaptive Activation of Distributed Self-Resilient Augmented Services. So we will have a brief overview of the project. And also we will focus in some approaches regarding cybersecurity and resilience, and of course jamming detection and mitigation as well. So this is the outline of the presentation. We will start with some aspects on the physical layer security we are exploring within NATWORK, some jamming detection methodologies, RF fencing. We will conclude and we'll show also some additional demonstrations. So this is the project's ID. It started the 1st of January 2024. It's a 3 years project. It's a total budget of about 6 million, including also contributions apart from Europe, from Swiss partners and from UK as well. So I serve as the deputy coordinator and the technical manager of the project. So here we have 15 partners. CERT is coordinating. We have GRAD, TSS, CNIT, ISRD, ELTE, Montimas, IMEC, NEC, NOVA, PINET, ZHV, UZH, USX, and HESO. We have a broad variety within Europe, 10 EU countries and associated countries, universities, RTOs, SMEs, and also industry, of course. So let's focus a little bit on the main concepts of NATWORK. NATWORK is bio-inspired. It utilizes the analogy between a complex structure, for example, the human body, and the cybersecurity principles. So actually, here we employ this analogy utilizing the immune system of the human body, which is learning from previous security incidents, forecasting potential future threats, and also adjusting security protocols to accommodate shifting circumstances. So we can see this figure. On the one hand, we have the biological immune system, and on the other hand, we have the artificial immune system. We have the virus and the cyber criminal. We have the skin, for example, in the body, and the firewall in our solutions, including the intrusion detection system. We have the immunity from the one side, and also the signature-based IDS from the other, and the adaptive immunity that is also associated with learning, using machine learning in our systems. So we use this analogy to build our solutions and take into account the functionalities of the human body to increase also the accuracy of detection, the adaptability of our cybersecurity solutions. So NATWORK aims to provide the first economically realistic, energy efficient and viable bio-inspired AI-based 6G cybersecurity and resilient framework. To do this, we take into account also all elements in a cross-sector business environment and to address the different requirements and challenges. So here there are some challenges we are trying to address, deliver security and trustworthiness over all heterogeneous network components, provide net zero AI and energy efficient security, effectively cope with AI-powered weaponization at all layers of 6G network, provide security and resource orchestration with explainable AI, and also automated and zero-touch management and orchestration via SLAs. So this is an overview of our architecture, of our conceptual architecture, along with the main components and technologies. We are having 4 use cases that we are going to explain later on, but mainly we have a layer, the orchestration and management layer, and also the secure network infrastructure and edge services that are presented here. So we have the categorization, the decentralized orchestration, the energy efficient AI services for the RAN, and the edge cloud services. So we can see some examples, for example, the energy efficient orchestration, the attack resilient, the secure by design orchestration. Also, under the physical layer, we are exploring AI-enabled risk configuration, MIMO, and AI-enabled anti-jamming. And some more, let's say, novel concepts, for example, AI-enabled MTD. MTD stands for migration. We will explain later on what it is. So these are also the technologies, some of them already mentioned. We explore the zero-touch SIA resilience, platform-agnostic security. We explore P4 telemetry and federated learning approach at the data layer, along with explainability in any case. We will go through some very brief key achievements because we are in the middle of the project. So currently, we have established also the project Zenodo Ekiblat communities. They are open source, so we invite everyone to visit and check the content. We have established at this point the use cases, the KPIs, the architecture, and the SLAs. And in terms of technological developments, we have developed orchestration advances, secure by design federated orchestration, energy efficient secure edge orchestration, integration with the CTI as well. We have explored attack detection techniques via AI, the data plane, LLM-based intrusion detection system, microservice profiling, and WASP module as well. We have developed novel attack generation systems, also efficient AI-based software payloads, implemented attestation and monitoring frameworks, developed IDS and P4-based processing and smarting models, federated learning and moving target defense solutions, and explainable AI as well. Here we have developed the Network Data Management Platform, which is a platform dedicated to accelerate research related to 6G. We are populating this platform with different data from our testbeds, but this is also a good opportunity to disseminate this platform to the wider presence, to ask from other projects to contribute in order to increase the data collected and accelerate in this way the research associated with this. We can see here that so far 11 institutions have contributed, 19 users in total. Already we have 10 shared datasets of about 6 GB. These refer to jamming attacks, anomaly detection in Kubernetes, PKG, DDoS, etc. So through this link, you can find the data portal. You can also register, you can use the open data that are available, but also you can contribute your own data that you are using. We continue with some achievements in self-resilience of 6G. Here we are working on threat modeling on the Open RAN, ML models for energy efficiency, PKG systems as well, anti-jamming solutions, and RIS. RIS stands for Reconfigurable Intelligent Surfaces for the physical layer security. We will explain more details later on. And of course, regarding evaluation, we have established all the evaluation framework, KPIs, KVIs validation, test environments, and also initiated the trials. So we have 4 use cases, 4 pilot cases, let's say. The first one is the sustainability and reliability of 6G slices and services. The second one is the anti-jamming technologies for autonomous vehicles. The third one is about IoT security. And the fourth is improving variability of network with continuous security. So we have, let's say, 4 different realistic labs, but actually it's, let's say, lab environments, because each one of them consists of different testbeds from different partners. So there is a broad geographical diversity on this. So let's explore a little bit the use cases. The first one is divided in some sub-use cases. For example, the centralized MANO for intent compliance, end-to-end resiliency and continuity. Here we have developed the remediation versus denial of sustainability attacks. We will see later on in the demo what exactly is this. We employ detection and mitigation through different solutions. We explore also security as a service payload security and grid-based payload placement. Regarding the second pilot, anti-jamming solutions, we have anti-jamming technologies for autonomous vehicles. Here, V2X distributed MIMO with AI-based detection and mitigation, and also with RIS. We will explore later on in more details what exactly is this. Other sub-use cases involve the AI jamming detection and mitigation for XPath routing, the adaptive modulation techniques for the jamming autonomous recovery, and also improving 6G security in 6G spectrum. In the third pilot case, we have anomaly detection using machine learning, IoT-generated DDoS detection through AI, AI-driven penetration testing through custom solutions powered by LLM and machine learning, and decentralized security and trust management through blockchain solutions. Finally, in the first pilot, security-aware placement and monitoring. Here we provide offloading security functions to the data plane. We have also AI-aware network slicing for efficient resource utilization and monitoring, software-defined radio for agile payload communication, AI-driven orchestration of microservices, enabling optimized explainable MTD, moving target defense. We are going also to see a demo later on, and software control flow monitoring for early DDoS. We will briefly explain some of the infrastructure for Pilot 2 because we are going to focus mostly in this presentation on the physical layer aspects. So this is an overview of our testbed, and this is also our autonomous vehicle we are using to test our solutions. We have also a handheld jammer to create the jamming attacks, and some USRPs, software-defined radios, also to use as a transmitter, receiver, and jammer in some of our experiments. This is an overview also of our 5G testbed, the autonomous vehicle, the jammer, and the SDR. Maybe we can skip this one. So we can see here the experimental setup. We have the 3 USRPs. We operate initially in frequencies of 2.4 and 5.9 near the V2X frequencies. We use also a Jetson PC for the SDR configuration. This is a quite compact setup for the lab environment and will be further escalated later on when it's going to be installed in the autonomous vehicle. We have also a RIS, recently acquired. Here RIS, as I mentioned, stands for Reconfigurable Intelligent Surface. This one operates on about 4.7 gigahertz. It has an API, and we can configure the behavior, connect with other solutions through the API, and investigate the cybersecurity aspects of this. So we can discuss a little bit briefly about how to address the physical layer security challenges. We can see, of course, that among the legitimate users, we may have some events dropper here, for example, and also we may have some jammers that will create interference to the communication. So our solution utilizes RIS to efficiently handle the energy that is transmitted from the base station to the legitimate users. And we also use an authentication SIM, PKG, physical key generation, so we can distinguish the legitimate user from the eavesdropper using this authentication mechanism. Of course, we can have real-time jamming detection and mitigation through our solutions, and through the RIS we can also avoid the jamming that the legitimate, that the malicious user will create. So we can see here some of the jamming detection tools. We have an automatic reaction upon detecting a jamming attack. We have a single-phased approach against traditional two-phase approach. This is an ML-based detection of jamming based on some signal samples, and the reaction is the network reconfiguration. That means we have frequency hopping and scheduling as well in order to avoid the jamming signal. So we can see the setup using the USRP that can be used as either as receiver or transmitter. We have the detection phase, the action phase. Here we have the network reconfiguration and the resource allocation to mitigate the attack. Another approach here is the development of a diagnostic platform where both G0B and 5G and R-Core has been placed together in a Docker container. Here the tool will provide some logs on different parameters to place, for example, a detection XAP and an action mitigation XAP as well. So here we have the development of a Docker container it generates a jamming signal to reduce SNR and facilitates in this way to understand better the jamming signals. And this is the third approach, jamming detection tools using Jasmine. Jasmine is a lightweight, accurate, and real-time detection method for jamming attack. What we do here is to train some of our models using data to estimate the channel, the noise of the channel, and also during the operating phase to use some signal processing, compare with a normal channel noise, and detect the jamming. We will explain later on how this is done. So we have we have experimented with different modulation schemes, either for clear or jam solutions, and as we can see here, the accuracy of detection is quite high. So we continue with physical layer key generation. So this exploits channel reciprocity in TDD to generate highly secure keys against any eavesdropper. Here we use machine learning approach for FDD or FDM systems, and also we have a proof of concept in sub-terahertz and higher millimeter wave bands. We can see here the channel, how we process the signal from the channel sounding, quantization, information reconciliation, and privacy amplification. We generate the key, and we make sure that there is some secure communication when the key is exchanged to avoid also the key extraction attempt. Regarding jamming attacks, maybe I can go through quickly this one because you are all aware of jamming. It's a malicious interference, it's overwhelming legitimate signals, it's a significant threat, especially for 6G, because the frequencies are higher, the power is lower, so it is quite easier to jam as we progress in 6G. So efficient and accurate detection is needed. We have three types of jamming. We have constant jamming, continuous transmission of noise or signals. We have periodic jamming. Interference is set at regular intervals, making detection more challenging. And also reactive jamming, that means interference activates only upon detecting legitimate transmissions. This is the most difficult jamming to detect. So by jamming, the signal is interfered, and finally the communication is interrupted. So current status is that existing jamming detection methods lack universal effectiveness, particularly against periodic and reactive jamming. Most models require labeled jamming data for training, and also in literature different signal metrics are used, and there is significant inconsistency. The main concept here is that we are going to have various legitimate users and an eavesdropper. The jammer is going to affect some of the legitimate users, and we propose Jasmine as a novel jamming detection method. Here what we do, is to use the clear signal here through our modules and to make the estimation of the channel noise, and then when they operate we use a comparison solution to detect the jamming. This explained here in more details. So we have the modulation scheme identification, the MSI model. Here is the deep learning, the AI model that learns to classify the samples by modulation scheme. Then for each supported modulation, we have a dedicated outlier detector model that is trained to capture the characteristic noise profile of the unjammed signals. And through these two modules, we have an estimation of the channel noise. Then, in the operating phase, we have a two-stage decision process. First, if the modulation predictions fluctuate or noise exceeds normal levels, jamming is detected. And Jasmine also applies to all jamming types across the different protocols and bands. So we can see here how to apply this in our autonomous vehicle. We have the legitimate transmitter and how the jamming tries to interfere. So we have applied specifically in vehicular communications V2X in a protocol band of around 5.9 gigahertz. We have tested with different modulation and coded SIMs, for example, of the OFDM with BPSK, QPSK, and other modulation solutions. This is the SDR-based setup we used. Each USRP handles signal generation, modulation, demodulation, and filtering. So one acts as the transmitter, and the other as the receiver, and the third one acts as the jammer as well. These are some solutions. We have generated the dataset through our experiments. This is publicly available on Zenodo. You can find it through this link and further utilize for your experiments as well. So as we can see here, we have different measurements about clear signal and jamming signal as well, different modulation SIMs, and also different subsets of training and evaluation data. How to train the MSI component. We have an LSTM-based sequence classifier. This captures temporal dependencies to classify modulation SIMs in real time. So what we do is to extract the confusion matrix and also the precision, recall an F1 score. We can see that for the different modulation SIM, we exhibit high values of F1 score, and we have an overall accuracy of 97%. Then we train the outlier detector. Here we use isolation forest per modulation SIM. It's trained solely on normal and jam data. It's an unsupervised solution. It learns the normal modulation noise profile and flags deviations. We have a contamination parameter determination and also a configuration as well of the different parameters. So to evaluate our solution, our dataset was also contains normal and jam samples. We have reactive and periodic jamming, and we can see that from these results we have a high accuracy in BPSK and QAMs, and very high accuracy also in QPSK solutions. So from our experiments we exhibit quite good accuracy. We can see here a video demonstrating the solution. So a transmitter sends information. We can see that it is disrupted based on the functional noise. The receiver demodulates properly, and we can see that the signal is clear. Then Jasmine notifies that we have a clear signal. When we activate, however, the jammer, we can see what are the changes also between transmitter and receiver, and immediately also Jasmine provides a notification that jamming is attacked. And the same applies for different, let's say, modulation SIMs. This is a 16 QAM modulation solution, a QPSK modulation SIM. Still, the Jasmine can predict efficiently the presence of a jammer. Okay, we continue. The first step is to detect the jammer. Next, we need to identify the location and also to mitigate. So we continue with the jamming mitigation framework. We propose the shield, the antenna shield, that it can provide coverage for a legitimate user. So how this works, we have also the receiver's antennas must be equal to the jamming antennas plus an additional one for suppression. So using this additional antenna, we can detect but also mitigate the jammer. We receive these two antenna signals, signals plus interference plus noise. We have some processing with IG values. Okay, we have some processing through the larger eigenvalue, applied jamming detection based on the eigenvalue ratio, and also project into non-jammer space to have the clean signal. So here we can see that this is the baseline SNR. This is the mitigated one. So after applying the solution, after mitigating, we have an increase in the SNR and an appropriate mitigation approach. So we can see here in different modulations what happens when we have the ideal constellation and what happens before mitigation and after mitigation. Before mitigation, there is this jamming and it's not detectable. After mitigation, we can have some clear distinguish between the two phases, so we can efficiently demodulate. The same applies for other modulation schemes, here before and after mitigation. Also here we have the 16 QAM before and after mitigation. And finally, here before and after mitigation, this is more difficult but still effective. So jamming identification. We use an ML-based jamming identificator. That means we identify jamming type, angle of arrival, and also phase difference. After doing this, after doing this, after making this identification, we can generate the necessary signal to protect the legitimate user. So the idea here is not just to shift frequency, but to generate an appropriate signal to cancel the jamming approach. To do so, we can use reconfigurable intelligence surfaces. That will be a game changer for physical layer security. We have the base station and the legitimate user, and using RIS, we can follow the legitimate user and, let's say, confine the energy only to him. So we can create some specific areas of energy. So we propose RF fencing, a novel RIS-enabled functionality for security. Here we have, of course, a set of legitimate users, eavesdropper and jammer that applies interference to a legitimate user. By adding RIS, we can effectively target the energy to specific legitimate users and either avoid also the jamming effect, because through RIS we can avoid this jamming interference. RIS will act as a relay somehow and send the energy to the legitimate user. So we can see here that we have the algorithm that's called SILT. We have developed this for physical layer security and proactive governance. SILT splits the network in SSAs and SDAs. SSA is a signal suppression area and SDA is a signal delivery area. That means we can have specific areas where we transmit energy to a legitimate user, or we block energy to a user that we don't want to transmit to. Also SILT can be used for anti-jamming method by transforming the whole area into SSAs and SDAs. We can see some examples of the energy of the field. Here we can see that we have an increased amount of the electric magnitude, but if we consider an area of suppression, we can mitigate even by minus 69 dB. And finally, this is the proposal for a unified framework. We start with jamming detection component. We have the Jasmine, so we can detect whether we are having a jamming attack or not. If we are actually having a jamming attack, we continue with the jamming identification properties. So we have the ML-based MIMO identification. We check and detect the type of jamming attack, phase difference between legitimate base station and jammer, and also angle of arrival as well. And then we continue with the jamming mitigation mechanisms through the SHIELD algorithm. We have a signal processing mitigator. We provide the risk defense mechanism based on the risk configuration service, and we can also apply AI-based PKG for further authorization. So we apply this approach to the autonomous vehicle. At least this is the next step, because so far the results was in a lab environment. But now we are working with the autonomous vehicle, and we are going to test also this scenario where we have the communication between the vehicle and an SDR-based station. We are going to use antennas and SDR for the jamming mitigation evaluation, and also the risk unit to further investigate the proposed theoretical approach. So let's conclude. Jamming detects constant, periodic, and reactive jamming in real time. It is a protocol-agnostic solution. It combines MSI and OD, and finally identify jamming without pre-collected jam data. And also it's validated in an SDR-based IEEE protocol about V2X, achieving a high accuracy as well. So here, jamming detection and mitigation framework will also be evaluated in autonomous vehicles use case. So this was a brief presentation of the physical layer solutions, and we can continue with some more demonstration of the NATWORK project, not necessarily in the physical layer, but dedicated to other solutions. For example, the MTD strategy. Here we have a moving target defense based on the live migration of Kubernetes microservices. Here the demo presents a web GUI allowing to configure MTD strategy against specific threats to automate the live migration of containers. So the demo comprises 4 key components: an eBPF-based anomaly detection system using a Falco, a crew-based live migration system integrated to Kubernetes, a front-end application to observe cluster conditions, trigger migrations, and configure MTD reactions, and finally an LLM-based workflow improving the forensic analysis of detected using Croc. So we continue with the video. Maybe I can skip this part and start here. So we can see here the different cluster running, the different network functions, and here the container migration page. We can manually migrate microservice or a network function. We can select the source and the destination, and which network function we want to migrate as well. So this is an example of what we may want to migrate, and generate also a forensic analysis through AI with augmented AI suggestions as well. This is the configuration page. You can see the rules for migration, for logging, and when it is detected, it's also a forensic analysis can be provided. An automatic forensic analysis is also provided. So here we demonstrate the automated migration. By selecting an application, we can see the Bootspring microservice application. We select the type of attack we are going to simulate. So here the attack is generated. So the rule triggers the migration. And we are moving from cluster 1 to 2 when the attack is detected. More details are provided in the logs. And of course, we do a forensic analysis using LLMs. So some recommendations also are provided through this solution. A more detailed forensic analysis is also available. I think we can continue. So the next demo is denial of sustainability attack against 6G Cloud native service strategy. Here we exhibit the impact of DOST attack in a 6G environment, and there is also interactive web-based frontend to show what is happening. Actually, here we use the NCL testbed as the backend. We use Vegeta traffic generator as user's emulator, Grafana to visualize the cloud metrics, and Prometheus for cloud monitoring. What we do is to continuously oscillate between high requirements and low requirements of the network. So we will see what's happening through operational conditions and when the attack is performed.
Welcome to the data sustainability
Here's some sound.
University of Essex. Here we are showing, first of all, the deployment of 6G cloud native service over the network convergence lab testbed here at Essex, and the service is comprised of the service comprised of a proxy and the actual service email, which runs Fibonacci calculation. The service is approachable by a user emulator resembled by a Vegeta traffic request generator. And what we are going to show today is what is fact, they look pretty much, any particular point, pretty much normal. The service is still operational. However, when you look at the pattern, and if you keep this long enough, so for example, if I go back to the last 15 minutes, you see that there has been an oscillating pattern. In fact, if I go to the last 30 minutes when I had an attack, you see patterns emerging. And this is problematic, and this is undetectable by normal intrusion detection systems. So what we are developing at the University of Essex is AI-based solutions that looks at time series data in order to detect this pattern over a period of time. For now, we are showing the impact of it, and we are looking forward to show mitigations and detection actually of this type of attack, because it's not easy to detect. And then once we detect it, we are informing orchestration components so that they can take an action to protect services. With that, we conclude the demo, and we are welcoming any questions. Welcome to the
Okay, we continue with the next demo, AI-driven network intrusion detection resource allocation. This demo presents an AI-driven approach for slicing resources in beyond 5G networks. Here we show an AI-driven network intrusion detection framework that enables also dynamic resource allocation and user management within the ORAN architecture. So here we have three major components: an ORAN rig for enable RAN slicing and custom control actions, an anomaly traffic detector for monitoring the user plane function traffic, and also an XApp for enforcing slicing policies based on ATD results and managing the connectivity of users. So here the ATD enhances network security. It triggers the slicing process upon detecting the anomalies through the continuous assessment of the UPF traffic on the ORAN interface. So as soon as the malicious packets are reset into the network, the XApp classifies them as abnormal, and the framework recalculates the allocations per user equipment in real time. This malicious user equipment is disconnected from the network, while the available resources are efficiently distributed among legitimate users. So we can see here also a video. So the user performs the DOS attack. First of all, we are deploying the core network. This may take some time. So we're starting the mono G node B. Starting the first user, the attacker. Starting the second user. So the second user pings to an external data network. The RTT is relatively low. Now the first user performs a flood sync attack to the core network. And the RTT on the second user side has increased. So now the first user performs a DOS attack. This causes buffer float and makes the RAN less responsive. The second user's experience is getting worse and worse. But even if the first user stops the attack, the damage is permanent for the user experience. So the solution is the anomaly detection and resource allocation. So we're starting the FlexRig controller, starting also the mono G0B, starting the anomaly detection and slicing XUp, starting the first user, starting the second user, so here we're starting the anomaly detection server for slice 1, and here we're starting the anomaly detection server for slice 2. So both servers are connected to the XUp and ready to detect any abnormal traffic. So here generated traffic for the user 1, the attacker, and the second user generates normal traffic. The anomaly detection server sends the anomaly to the app, and here the XUp enforces resource block allocation in real time. So the first user performs a DOS attack, and the XUp triggers RRC release of the first user. The second user still experiences low latency, while the first user is disconnected at RRC level. So we efficiently mitigated this attack by providing this real-time slicing reallocation. So finally, we have a DDoS detection, a train model and testbed. Here we have these testbeds combines benign traffic generators with IoT devices infected by the Mirai malware. The infected nodes are confined within isolated virtual machines and orchestrated through control remote mechanism. So the scenario comprises of 4 key components: isolated network generated the legitimate traffic, devices compromised by the malware, containment and remote control tooling for safe orchestration, and finally containerized pipeline for pickup conversion, model training and testing as well. So here we can see also a video.
Today I will present ESO's network DDoS test bench in 6 parts: network infrastructure, malware deployment, DDoS attack, data conversion, model training, and testing, and model inference. A network infrastructure comprising services, servers and clients, and devices compromised by Mirai malware was deployed. The services are provided as easily deployable Docker containers. The test bench comprises 6 nodes producing legitimate network traffic, 1 Mirai infected node producing malicious traffic, and 1 machine functioning as a router that supplies network services such as firewall, DHCP, proxy ARP, and so on. The Mirai malware in this test bench has been modified to run in a VM so it can be isolated, deployed, and remotely controlled. Because Mirai spreads via network interfaces, it can reach the guest through host-guest shared memory. The replication mechanism has been disabled but can be reactivated if required. The infected device has 2 network interfaces, one assigned to the host OS and one to the guest, allowing simultaneous, safe connection to the academic network and to the test bench. The second interface can be replaced by a smartphone to launch DDoS attacks against a 5G base station. Here is an example of a DDoS attack on a test bench, conducted in our controlled environment. Docker-based pipeline has been set up to handle CAP conversions, model training and testing, and inference on our datasets. CAP conversion uses SIGFlow meter for generating CSV and Parquet files with network flows for further processing and feature extraction. An initial XGBoost model was trained and tested on the CNC DDoS 2000 and 19 dataset as a benchmark baseline. The trained model was then applied to our own network traffic captures, validating its detection on real-world test bench data. We observed that it will likely be necessary to train future models on our own datasets for improved accuracy.
So, thank you. You can find more details in our social media and website, and also you can contact me if anything is needed, and we can discuss later on as well. Thank you very much.